John Hardie, Deputy Director of the Russia Program at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, joins us now. John, good evening and welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me on.
Reports are suggesting the Kremlin describing these talks with Steve Witkoff as, quote, productive, a lot of work ahead, and, quote, no compromise reached yet on territory. Your first thoughts on all of this?
Yeah, I think to sum up, it would be to be continued. It doesn't seem like there were any definitive outcomes or breakthroughs from this meeting. And frankly, I think Witkoff and Kushner went to Moscow without a firm negotiating position settled with the Ukrainians. So it's really all up in the air. I suspect they will take back to the Ukrainians and obviously back to President Trump the positions that Putin and his officials presented today, and we'll see where it goes. And frankly, I hope peace is soon to come, but I'm fairly pessimistic that's the case given the distance between the two parties and the fact that Putin is still doubling down on these maximalist demands.
And before this meeting today, Putin stated that Russia had no plans to fight Europe, but if it wants to fight us, he said, we are ready to do so. What do you make of that threat or the challenge he posed?
Yeah, obviously a lot of bravado in that statement. I wouldn't focus too much on that. I think what he said very close to that in his remarks was perhaps more telling. He basically said, Trump is trying to be constructive and get peace, and Europe is just sabotaging the process. It's part of his attempt to split the United States from its European allies. He wants to do a deal about Ukraine, about Europe, over their heads with Trump. And I think in general wants to have the United States out of Europe and be able to kind of deal with that theater and bully Russia's neighbors with a freer hand.
John, everybody is wondering, and how do you think these envoys who've been in these conversations back and forth, we've had so many meetings up until now, will be able to bridge that gap between the two sides on such basic differences as who keeps what territory of Ukraine?
Yeah, it's difficult and honestly might be impossible. I certainly don't think a deal is likely until Putin realizes that time is not on his side. As long as he feels overconfident in the Russian military prospects, as long as his troops are advancing and he thinks they can eventually grind down Ukrainian forces, outlast Western economic pressure, and kind of Western will to support Ukraine, then
right.
he probably feels very little reason to compromise. And so I think we have to change his headspace before a deal is possible.
John Hardie, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.